Hey folks, here are OS Reviews. You're watching our video review of the Truly Ergonomic Model 227 mechanical keyboard. Truly Ergonomic is a pretty interesting company. They've manufactured these ergonomic keyboards for a long time now. In fact, the Model 227, which we're reviewing now, is actually the updated new generation, which has been just released here at the start of 2016. Before the 227 and the Model 229, which has a slightly altered layout that composes of two keys as opposed to just one Alt key on the bottom right-hand corner, have been on the market for around, I would say, 6-7 years already. However, this newly updated model improves upon some of the woes that previous reviewers have noted in the first generation models of the 227 and the 229. So for one, people have noted in the past that the Truly Ergonomic keyboards seem to lose their sensitivity with the mechanical caps as you use them over time, which is of course a large issue that people have pointed out. To address this problem, Truly Ergonomic has gone through with the development process, and they've actually swapped out the keycaps. So instead of using Cherry MX round switches, which offer a pretty silent response, they've actually gone with a lesser known company based in China, and they claim that this swap in terms of the company manufacturing the keys will make a difference in terms of the longevity, as well as ensuring that they don't wear out or break down as easily as the Cherry MX brown switches that were originally used. Whether or not this claim is something that will take effect in reality, we'll have to come and see, because we've only used this for 2 to 3 weeks so far, but we haven't come across any issues. In terms of the pricing, the 227 is roughly $250, same thing with the 229, so they aren't cheap. However, it's a fair price to pay considering it's a ergonomic keyboard. So just like some of the Microsoft sculpted keyboards as well as other ergonomic keyboards in the market, they tend to be a bit more expensive because they offer a faster and more comfortable typing experience after you get used to it. Factoring in the fact that this is a mechanical keyboard as well, it makes more sense that it's slightly more expensive. Now, the Truly Ergonomic keyboard has a few advantages when compared to some other products that might also be ergonomic. For one, it's a very small and portable form factor. In fact, it's 60% the space of a full-sized keyboard, but it still retains 100% the size for the keys. So it's a lot more narrow, which makes it perfect for traveling if you're taking it with you. It also features a detachable palm rest area, which makes it even more small, which is great when placing it on a desk that might be more limited in the surface area department. Otherwise, this is also using a USB 2.0 connection, so just plug and play with any Mac OS or Windows-based computer. I would like to see a wireless model in the future, considering that the company has been producing a few updates over the years. Perhaps a logical next step would be making this fully wireless using Bluetooth, and that might be interesting to see and perhaps justify the more expensive price even more. But otherwise, the Truly Ergonomic keyboard uses this very unique non-staggered key arrangement, which they claim helps with your finger postures as well. So if you're a pianist, you might know that when you are playing the piano, teachers will always tell you to kind of curve your fingers like you're holding a bubble in your hands, and that prevents you from getting your fingers tired and prevents any carpal tunnel syndrome developing over the years. The same thing and the same logic is applied here. So if you're typing, you can see how the index finger, which is your longest finger, kind of reaches the furthest as well on this keyboard, whereas the Q and the T, the Y and the F, depending on your hand, is also a lot closer to your thumb and also your pinky fingers, so you don't have to reach as far to access those keys. Otherwise, those are the main things that really set this keyboard apart. The packaging here is pretty nice and simplistic. It tells you a bit about the switches. Of course, the benefit of a mechanical keyboard in general is that it's supposed to last a lot longer than a traditional membrane-style keyboard. It also offers a more responsive tactile click, which is more reassuring. It can also last for, again, easily 10-20 years if it's used properly and manufactured properly as well. With the USB 2.0 connection, it's pretty decent. It measures roughly 2 meters in length, so I didn't have any issues there. I kind of wish that the cable came out of a left or a right part on the back of the keyboard itself, rather from the center, just because it seems to get a little bit more easily tangled up, but other than that, it works pretty nicely. The actual cushioned padding on the bottom is pretty comfortable for your wrist when you are typing. A thing to know about this particular keyboard is brown switches, they are very quiet. So if you're typing on them compared to a membrane style keyboard, you won't really hear a difference, which is great if you are using it in a place where there's also other people around you. You don't want to really annoy them with the loudness of a mechanical blue switch. Going up close with the keyboard's layout, you can see that the spacebar here is actually staggered and it's split apart on both sides. So you can type on it with your left hand or your right hand. And if you kind of look at the keyboard from an angle, you can see how there are also keys that double up in terms of functionality, especially on the right here. You have some special symbols that you can access, like a number pad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that you can tap on when pressing on the key and the control key together. However, we did find that this layout for the numeric pad was a little bit limiting. So if you are planning on using this just for typing in numbers and calculations, maybe using it as a calculator for finance, it's not going to be the best option because sometimes it's not as accurate as we would have liked. On the back, there is a special feature which allows you to easily change out some of the layout functionality corresponding to the keys, and you can use a pen, which is actually not provided, but you can use it to shift up these tiny little points on the back there to access some altered layouts, perhaps if you're using it internationally as opposed to in the US. This is a very special feature. We haven't seen it before, and it seems to work quite well. The customization route because Truly Ergonomic does offer a software that you can download through their website, which allows you to further customize the keys specifically to your liking. So it's quite a nice feature and it works very well. So you can see some basic info on the back as well. Otherwise, as far as the comfort of this keyboard, I would say it does a very nice job, again, because the keys are full size, so you don't really have to be cramped when you're typing, and they're split around the center, so it works nicely when you're typing fast. But the thing I would say is the layout is something that will take a bit of time to get used to, especially with the placement of the caps key and also the backspace key. Those two things are slightly irregular on this keyboard compared to maybe a laptop keyboard, and this made me have to use this keyboard for roughly, I would say, a week before I really got used to the layout on here. And after that, I could type quite quickly on this. Something interesting I found though was when I transitioned back to a traditional non-staggered layout on maybe a laptop, I found that I wasn't really used to the layout anymore, and I had to type on that for another hour before I could kind of transition myself back into the traditional normal keyboard style. So this the time that it takes you to get customized to this is something definitely to note. It's not something that you'll be used to immediately. And after you are used to it, however, you can get a pretty reasonable speed in terms of typing, and supposedly also faster than a traditional keyboard, just because of the natural positioning of the keys are closer to the length of your fingers, and so you should get a faster response time. On the very top, there's also dedicated controls to some media buttons, including the volume, skip track, and that works pretty nicely as well. Overall, the sound on these are still pretty reassuring when you click on them. I'm a huge fan of mechanical keyboards. I feel like they make a lot of sense in terms of investment if you are someone who does a lot of writing, a lot of editing, as well as maybe computer science, because over time it's going to make your fingers feel better, make you feel better, and that's a reasonable price to pay for something that you'll be using for 10 years down the road, in my opinion. So this is also pretty portable as far as the design is concerned. The only thing though is, like most mechanical keyboards, it still is fairly hefty, so it does weigh you down a bit when you are traveling with it, even though the construction is mostly out of plastic, although the base does have some metal components. Something else that's missing on this truly ergonomic keyboard is the ability for you to prop up the keyboard at an angle. So you can notice that when we turned it back, there weren't any kickstand or mini kickstands for you to prop it up, so that's something to take note of. But overall, it does a decent job when you're sitting at a desk and typing on it. So at the end of the day, the Truly Ergonomic keyboard I feel like is a pretty decent option as far as ergonomic keyboards are concerned. Some people love them, some people aren't, too much fans of them, but for those who do need an ergonomic keyboard and also would like one that uses mechanical switches, this is one of the better options on the market. It's unique, it's compact, it's easy to tote around, and the construction quality seems to be pretty good. The company is addressing some issues that it had with the first generation model, and we are glad to see that. However, we would also like to see it take things even another step further as they continue with further iterations of the Model 227 down the road, such as the ability for you to use it wirelessly, and maybe more easily detach the palm rest without using screws. That would be interesting to look at as well. But overall, a very solid, I would say, improvement over the original. And we're now going to give you a quick sample of the sound the keyboard makes when you're typing on it. It's an interesting option to check out if you are looking for something that might be better on your fingers, and if you are a typist that's looking to write long articles or papers, this is a good option to consider. To learn more information about the Truly Ergonomic Model 227 and 229, be sure to read our full written review. This has been our video. Thanks for watching your OS review.